today's expert is Dr. Kamlesh Joshipura. I would like our coordinator to introduce him. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, all. Respected Agra Sachiv Sri Haidar sir, Niyamak Sri Nagarajan sir, OSD KCG, Professor Dr. A.U. Patel sir, OSD FDP, Dr. Mahesh sir, and special of the day, our speaker, respected Professor Dr. Kamlesh Joshipura sir, and dear all participants, good afternoon all, and welcome to this session. Today's session. Now, I brief the profile of our today's speaker, Kamlesh Joshipura sir. We all know, we all from Gujarat, and sir is also in Gujarat. So we all know, but I know you all are know the sir's profile, but somehow brief profile I share with all of you. Sir is the very, very busy person and very good initiative join with all the thing. So thank you, sir. You are here with us today's session. You're too much busy schedule, but you are confirm your schedule with us and share something knowledge with us. Dr. Professor Kamlesh Joshipura sir is among the most prominent leaders of highest education in Gujarat region. He held the chair of Vice Chancellor of 2 state universities of Gujarat for 3 terms, and he has been nominated as the governing member of Nehru Memorial Museum and Library, Ministry of Culture, Government of India, New Delhi. Presently, he has been given a very much important assignment of task force constituted by Government of Gujarat to implement the national education policy. Professor Joshipura sir, basic discipline is law, and having almost 31 years long career as the professor of law. His remarkable contribution is the area of legal field is significantly well. Besides his magnificent career as a law professor, he is very active in outreach program as a legal awareness camps, free legal aid, and socio-economic welfare activities. He has written a number of books and contributed almost 80 research papers. He is currently funded major research project titled of Unorganized Sector, Labor and Identification of Legislative Measures. Is Landmark contribution in the area of social justice. Sir is the distinguished academic and administrator. He currently works as a professor in law at the Department of Law, Saurashtra University, Rajkot. He has been an active member of some professional bodies of law, being an experienced faculty of law. He has been involved in helping the number of aspiring researchers as a supervisor. He has more than 80 publications to his credit. He has been member of editorial board for some reputed journals. He holds the degree of PhD and DLit. His area of specialization are constitutional law, insurance law, exim law, and forensic science at LLM level. So, and other subjects are social justice, social security and labor laws, political science, public administration, university administration, legal research and educational management and governance. He is also member of academic council in the capacity of specially invited distinguished educationalist in Banaras Hindu University and GGCU Bilaspur. Professor Dr. Kamlesh Joshipura sir is also member of State Security Commission, Government of Gujarat, and he is also governing board member in FlipNet UGC HRDC. Dr. Professor Kamlesh Joshipura sir is chairperson Legal Research Foundation also. તો આપણા આજના વક્તા જે ને સાંભળવાનો લાવો આપણને મળ્યો છે સર નાઉ પ્લેટફોર્મ is open for you. Thank you so much sir. On behalf of KCG I heartily welcome to you. Thank you sir.
Namaskar and very good afternoon, dear friends. Esteemed Principal Secretary Sri Haider Saab, esteemed Commissioner Higher Education Sri Nagarajan sir, Sri Madhu sir, my senior colleague, and of course I can say young and dynamic. I am using the word young. Even at this age, Professor N.M. Patel sir is very much active and shouldering certain Herculean task in the capacity of OSD in our Knowledge Consortium of Gujarat. Yesterday evening, my colleague, Professor Mahesh Patel ji, briefed me about the proposed program. Prior to that, very active our faculty and of course who is coordinating the faculty development program here, Krupabel. She was just asking about my availability. In fact, for a teacher like me, of course, sharply deviating from formal things, I can say that it remains always embarrassing for any dignitary or for any faculty to listen carefully his own CV or we can say biodata, as continuously it reminds us that the thing being mentioned over here in our CV, are we continuously trying to fulfill the exact requirements reflected in the CV or not? So in that way, it creates an embarrassing situation for any distinguished speaker or a teacher like me. I'm proud to be a professor in law in Department of Law in Saurashtra University. I was just sharing my views with Krupaben, as she is from the Rajkot, and very much, I can say, very much sincere student of Department of Law then, and very actively participating in all kind of academic programs. Just I was referring certain names on the screen. I have seen certain very committed teachers over here. Almost all are colleagues of myself. But at the same time, I must say that it's a continuous process, not only continuous, but it should be. cumulative. It should be consistent. It should be continuous process of learning. As it was, the subject was being suggested by Kripaden, and in an earnest manner, humbly, I have submitted that the subject of national education policy and legal education have discussed in recent future. Vimal Parmarji has organized one law teachers webinar, then subsequently by the Gujarat Adhivakta Parishad. Even during the discussion of rather consultative meet of national education policy also. Today is very much auspicious day, I must say. Before I start, before I focus something on that. So let me clarify that instead of taking the subject of national education policy with special reference to legal education, I have requested our colleagues in KCG that, as no doubt, it's a matter of proud for me that being a member of a task force constituted by Government of Gujarat, I think I consider myself as the part and parcel of KCG family. There is no doubt about it. But sometime when the easiest basic thing, usually sometimes we forget, sometimes we deviate from the concentration from updating ourselves. That's why I have suggested a particular topic which is a traditional in not only from the constitutional point of view but from the polity point of view also. Why? Because federalism is very much famous, and usually biannual or annual conference used to organize in different countries across the globe. So I suggested one thing, that let us examine the exact situation prevailing in the area of federalism. I was telling you that today, rather the 6th July is very much auspicious. This is the birth day of a renowned political thinker. एक देश, एक विधान, एक निशान. कश्मीर ये भारत का अविभाज्य हिस्सा है. That kind of declaration which was made by Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee, renowned educationist, dear friends. He became the Vice Chancellor. He was the youngest Vice Chancellor, even I can say across the globe, at the age of 33 years. The then English government appointed Dr. Shyama Prasad Mukherjee as the Vice Chancellor of Kolkata University. Subsequently, he was given the second term. When he joined, he was only 33, dear friends. Just imagine. And subsequently, he got the second term. Later on, he founded the Janasangha, the erstwhile Janasangh, now it is BJP. He is the founder. A renowned constitutionalist, a renowned educationist, a renowned thinker of Indian classical polity. And today is also birthday of Mausiji, a founder of Rashtra Sevika Samiti, Kalkarji, and of course our Pujaniya Mauj Dharma Guru, Dalai Lama ji. So 6th July is very much auspicious, dear friends. I was just very much eager that I've just asked before the 5 minutes says technically I'm not very much sound in technical matters like how to operate the. No doubt, initially I am having the lower basic knowledge of computer in a way. I don't have that kind of capacity to manage the technical affairs in the computer. I was just sharing the views with Krupaven, and ultimately they helped me. It was a little bit embarrassing for them also. So, but ultimately, I'm very much delighted to be with you. It was very much difficult. Sometimes they give me the instruction, do like this, Joshipura sahab, aap aisa karo. But in a frank manner, I have told him that you just show me the easiest way how to join. And fortunately, it could click, and I'm with you, dear friends. So our today's topic, I think it's very much relevant in the present context and very much contemporary. Emerging trends in the federalism with special reference to good governance. Dear friends, as rightly mentioned by our colleague about the today's topic, as we all know that this particular aspect of political structure is gaining day by day. So classically, we can say that federalism today enjoys an over-increasing, I can say, over-increasing acceptance throughout the world, across the globe. Even the solitary nature of countries, even the unified countries, ekatantrik, now they have started to prefer, to adopt, to introduce the federalism as the point. So it's gaining across the globe. What are the ingredients of the federalism? I have identified, this is my humble belief. Here I can see a number of, rather galaxy of knowledgeable persons are with me. Please correct at the end if I am wrong, but I have identified 4 ingredients, I can say salient feature in this regard, apart from the constitutional scheme. In addition to that, one more request from me. Please feel free, if anything is not clear in your mind from linguistic point of view, I can also use the vernacular language. I can also use the Raj Bhasha, and I can share something in English. Whichever language you prefer, please feel free. This is our family of legal fraternity. law teachers. So don't worry, please feel free in this regard. I have identified 5 major ingredients in this regard. Why this particular system is gaining across the world, why it is so famous. One thing that I have identified out of and in the course of my research, desire to bring politics closer to the people. So it's a kind of people's participation. The first and the utmost condition for the healthy city, what it should be. Your politics should be participative. So, desire to bring politics closer to the people. So it's a kind of people's participation, that's number one. And encouraging more active participation, continuous encouragement. Continuous encouragement. Which kind of politics should be there? Any ideal politics should always increase the active participation of the people. Maybe by way of franchise, maybe by expressing the difference of opinion, maybe in the form of healthy discussion, maybe in the form of healthy debate, whichever may be the things, but there should be an active participation, that's number one. Second, the most important, and it is related with the Indian perspective, as we used to say time to time that unity in diversity. So the second, as per my humble opinion, they wish to live their diversity in unity. For a country like India, this particular aspect is more relevant as per my humble belief. Third thing, respecting each another. I must respect your opinion. Even that particular opinion is not befitting with my desire. So I must respect your opinion. I must respect your suggestion. I must respect your participation. I must respect your submission. I must respect your any suggestion for alteration. So, third thing, it should be respecting one another. Recently, this particular phrase of conflict resolution is gaining. As you all are aware, later on we are going to discuss about the certain recommendations from the Sarkaria Commission, also about the center-state relations. But at the same time, I think conflict resolution. Dear friends, I would like to share with you that even during the lockdown, we have witnessed certain unprecedented things. I firmly believe, dear friends, that even despite the any kind of political differences, India has emerged as the united country since last almost 1 year and 8 months. We have done a great job. because our federalism is successful, dear friends. Next, I think, as per my humble belief, based on the classical approach also, political response to globalization of the economy. I think Gujarat has shown the exemplary work in this regard out on the base of globalization, privatization. I think we have done a great job. And of course, liberalization. So it's a political response to globalization of the economy. One reason why federalism is gaining a momentum across the world because of the LPG, liberalization, privatization, and the globalization. I'm not sure one statement that I am making, please feel free to correct me at the end, but this is my personal belief that highly flexible instrument of state organization that can be continuously adapted a new needs of the changing circumstances. That's why I have decided, I have suggested, I have requested the KCG personnel to use the word emerging trends. Pravartaman pravaho. Dear friends, in a way it is a flexible one, highly flexible I can say. Why this particular aspect? I must say this will be my own hypothesis, dear friends. Remember, please check me if I am in a position to prove the hypothesis or not, or I miserably failed or not. Please correct me. To be very frank with you, this is my small but remarkable and effective hypothesis about my today's talk. Listen again. If you have not listened, please correct me at the end. That highly flexible, I have used the word, this particular concept is highly flexible instrument for state organization that can be continuously adopted to new needs. New needs means growing needs of the changing or emerging, changing circumstances. Change, and the change is the unchanged rule of life, dear friends. Only the things that will remain unchanged, that is the change. एक જ વસ્તુ अपरिवर्तनशील છે, that is પરિવર્તન. So I have identified certain characteristic in this regard. I have identified almost it is based on the classical jurisprudential approach. Yet I have not come across the Indian constitutional scheme. Please remember that all these things, first part, ingredients, that was based on my own analysis out of and in the course of reading certain, rather many books on federalism in past, are identified salient features. Now, on the base of my research, the kind of empirical research, I have identified certain structural characteristic. Of course, it is very much basic. You can add, I don't say this is complete. You can add something, dear friends. I always used to say, my dear students and my dear colleague, please correct me. You can add, you can alter, you can check me, please, because we are teachers. So what are the characteristics? Basic characteristic: two or more organs of government each acting directly on their citizens. Why this word each acting directly? This will prove later on. This particular aspect will prove after 10 minutes. I will prove this. Two or more orders of government each acting directly on their citizens. Second thing, formal constitutional distribution of legislative and executive authority and allocation of revenue resources between the orders of government. Ensuring orders of government is more important. Orders of government ensuring some areas of genuine autonomy for each order. First, orders of government and for autonomy for each order. This is interlocutory kind of system where you are given, where a particular origin, particular source, say for example, constitution gives a kind of orders, creation of orders, additioning, creation of orders. And then subsequently, this particular origin grants the autonomy for each order. Unless and until you are not giving the autonomy to perform, the order itself will be nullified. Dear friends. Third thing, provision for designated representation of distinct regional views within the federal policy making institutions. So there will be a proper representation. Of course, designated representation. With the scheme of pro rata. Next one, unless and until UK is an exception, dear friends. Before making this statement, I must clarify. A supreme written constitution is must for federalism, and it should not be, dear friends, be attentive, it should not be unilaterally amendable. We all know about the constitutional scheme, about the amendment, simple majority, special majority, ratification from the state legislature, all these three aspects we are very much aware about. And last but not the least, which will be very much relevant in the present context, it is about the intergovernmental collaborations. Intergovernmental collaborations, dear friends. So these are the structural characteristics that I have identified out of and in the course of my reading. At the same time, I have identified three processes based on the significant characteristic. One is there should be a sound democratic structure. लोकतांत्रिक व्यवस्था अनिवार्य है. Second thing, multiple center of decision making. निर्णयની પ્રક્રિયા માટે એક કરતા વધારે વ્યવસ્થાપન અનિવાર્ય છે. દાખલા તરીકે કેન્દ્ર અને રાજ્ય, ગુજરાત રાજ્ય અને ગાંધીનગર જિલ્લા પંચાયત, ગાંધીનગર જિલ્લા પંચાયત અને વિજાપુર તાલુકા પંચાયત, વિજાપુર તાલુકા પંચાયત અને રામપર ગ્રામ પંચાયત. So, sound democratic structure, that's number one. Second thing, multiple centers of decision making. એક કરતા વધારે નિર્ણયની વ્યવસ્થાપન અનિવાર્ય છે. It's not a unitary. not the unified. एकतंत्रीय नहीं. And this is the entire concept of federalism is based on the utmost respect for constitutionalism. બંધારણવાદમાં પૂર્ણ શ્રદ્ધા વગર સમવાય તંત્ર શક્ય નથી. So these three processes are based on the characteristic of the classified structural characteristic of the federalism. Now, let us come to the identified variations. First phase, I have structured in a most classical mode, rather, I can say. It's a classical nature, dear friends. I have mixed up with the jurisprudential aspect, political science aspect, and constitutional aspect, of course. But ultimately, I identified certain things based on all the three shastra, rather, Rajniti Shastra, બંધારણ, બંધારણીય કાનૂન અને ન્યાયશાસ્ત્ર. What are the variations? The degree of cultural national diversity which they attempt to reconcile. Say, for example, you take any country of the European Union and you compare that particular country with our India, that is Bharat. So we are having a very good, but mind well, dear friends, in India, there is no cultural diversity. सांस्कृतिक दृष्टिથી ભારતમાં ऐक्य છે. सांस्कृतिक ऐक्य છે. આપણે શબ્દ વારંવાર વાપરીએ છીએ. સાંસ્કૃતિક વૈવિધ્યતા, સાંસ્કૃતિક વિવિધ્યતા નથી. સંસ્કૃતિ એક જ છે, ભારતીય સંસ્કૃતિ. ભાષા, ભૂષા, રહેન સહેન, પહેરવેશ, બોલી, આ સંદર્ભની અંદર there may be a kind of diversity, but culturally we are one. I would like to give you one example about the Russia, which was USSR, which was having the sound political unity, politically. No one can break that kind of political system. But it has collapsed overnight. And now, number of nations have come out from the USSR, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, and all these things. But India remains one because culturally we are one. Another variations, this will vary the number of relative size, rather size, a kind of symmetry and asymmetry, પ્રમાણસર અને અપ્રમાણસર. કેટલા પ્રમાણમાં છે, કેવું રાખવાનું છે, એનું ભૌગોલિક વિસ્તાર વગેરે. Each order of government derives its authority from the constitution. So central government is not giving the power to the state governments in our country. Only constitution gives the power directly, power The powers received by the state government, respective state governments, are from the constitution, the root of origin. The origin is constitution, not the union government. No outsider has given the power to union government, only constitution. Even in constitution, who gave the power? We the people of India, unanimously. ભારતીય લોકોના મૂળમાંથી સત્તાની શરૂઆત થઈ. ભારતીય લોકોના મૂળમાં જ સત્તા જે છે એનો સમગ્ર સ્ત્રોત છે. We the people of India solemnly resolve means ભારતના નાગરિકો જ આ સંઘ અસ્તિત્વમાં લાવે. બંધારણના ઘડવૈયાઓની એક પ્રકારની દૂરંદેશી છે. Next one, there should be a distribution of legislative and administrative responsibilities, not the power. Here the responsibilities, jawabdari. You are answerable, responsible, both, and accountable. Answerable, accountable, and responsible. Another diversity, rather we can say variations that we are identified, allocation of taxing powers. કર ઉઘરાવવાની જે સત્તા છે એ સંદર્ભની અંદરની બાબત છે અને ફાઇનાન્શિયલ રિસોર્સિસ નાણાકીય સ્ત્રોત નિષ્પન્ન કરવા અંગેની બાબત છે. કેન્દ્રીકરણ અને વિકેન્દ્રીકરણ. ક્યાંક કેન્દ્રિત રીતે સેન્ટ્રલાઇઝ મુવમેન્ટમાં આખા પાવર્સની વહેંચણી હોય છે, ક્યાંક ડિસેન્ટ્રલાઇઝ વિકેન્દ્રિત હોય છે. The character and identity of their central institutions, say for example, Election Commission of India, CVC, other central institutions, UPSC, say for example. So there's a kind of character and composition of central institutions. I am talking about the global scenario, dear friends, yet I have not entered into the Indian classical arena. Next one is conflict resolution. Now this particular aspect, I think you might all aware, you all are learned friends, and you might have taught earlier about the Sarkaria Commission, the recommendations of the Sarkaria Commission. Some of our friends that I can identify over here, they have just conducted the research program on center-state relations and all these things. So, as per, I think, two questions for you about the analysis. I caught. Why was the country's federal constitution constructed and the way it was, and what were the principles, philosophical, historical, and political reasons for doing so? Question number 1. So you will have to answer at the end. Please jot down why was the country, a particular country, single country, why was the country's federal constitution constructed the way it was, and what were the principles, philosophical, historical, and political reasons for doing so? Question number 1 for you. Question number 1 for you. And second, what? Please kindly remember, I'm going to ask at the end, what, if anything, is unique or different about the country's federal constitution compared to other federal constitutions around the world? Question number 2 for you. Question number 2, let me repeat, what, if anything, is unique of different about the country's federal constitution compared to other federal constitutions around the world? This is my second question that I've thrown. Please catch it. I have summarized the thing very hurriedly. I am just reading 1 to 8. Why it is successful? Number 1, consistency and durability. Second thing, adherence of polity is a kind of participative politics. That's number 2. Third one, political and social stability. It also regulates the social order also, not only the polity, not only the political, but it also regulates the social order. Next, law and order. Next, economic performance. Economic performance, it should be a vibrant economy. I have summarized all these 8 aspects, 8 points in nutshell, bullets. National development, overall national development of the country, and continuous political debate and gradually evolve a consensus. સતત ચર્ચાના આધારે એક વાક્યતાનું નિર્માણ. So, I have identified this particular system, reason. 8 reasons. This is my opinion, dear friends. Again, repeatedly I am telling you, this is my opinion. Don't take it as the final opinion. You can correct me, please. If anything to be added, please add at the end. So, now let us discuss which is very much familiar with you. The entire concept is very, very, very much familiar with you. As my third question, can you define the federalism, the concept of federalism based on our Indian constitution or not? This is my third question. Can you define the word federalism based on the constitutional scheme of India? This is a very small, identical question. You are very much clever in this regard. I am sure that it will be the easiest question for you. We have adopted the constitution on 26 January 1950. Of course, having almost with the additions, alterations, amendments and all these things, we are having the 22 parts, 12 schedule, almost 395 like that. I think it is 395 articles, 3 appendix. But I think I was just reading the line about the definition, but I am going, I should avoid. You are better judge to give me the answer. So please think over that. And of course, it's a most detailed legal code dealing with all constitutional and administrative aspects. One very much significant thing about the Indian constitution, it's a very much detailed. Why it is so lengthy? It's a detailed legal code, dear friends, dealing with all constitutional and administrative aspects. It doesn't only throw the light on the polity or the constitutional power, but at the same time, it regulates the administrative function also. So in a way, our constitution is very much classical. It establishes union of states union territories, and now, of course, it's not a full-fledged state, but National Capital Territory. The state of the National Capital Territory, that is the Delhi. There was a debate about the new amendment, took place before 6 months. But of course, I would not like to go into the detail because of otherwise it's very much interesting why such kind of amendment have been brought in the parliament about the Delhi state. From constitution point of view, it's very much interesting. Some other time we may discuss about that. And of course, ongoing discussion about the judiciary, there is a demarcation line about executive, about the legislative. So it defines the powers of legislative, executive, and national capital. So it's a kind of separation of powers. India is having, I can say, of course, I would like to reiterate that we are a plural society. બાર ગાવે બોલી બદલાય, ગુજરાતીમાં કહેવત છે. બાર ગાવે બોલી બદલાય. બાર ગાવ એટલે 2 માઇલ, 24 કિલોમીટરે ભાષા બદલાઈ જાય. અમદાવાદની થોડી ભાષા અલગ હોય, સૌરાષ્ટ્રની કાઠિયાવાડી હોય, ખ્યાલ આવી જાય કે ભાઈ આ સૌરાષ્ટ્રમાંથી આવતા લાગે છે, ભાઈ ગાંધીનગરમાં છે, પણ મૂળ તમે કાઠિયાવાડી એમ પૂછે. રાજકોટમાં કોઈ અમદાવાદથી આવ્યું હોય સર્વિસ કરવા લો કોલેજ વગેરેમાં, તો પૂછે ભાઈ તમે મૂળ અમદાવાદના લાગો છો, ભાષા ઉપરથી તમારી. તો ભાષા ભૂષા તો બહુ બરોબર છે, ગુજરાતમાં ને ગુજરાતમાં ફરક ન હોય, પરંતુ બોલી બદલાય. આ સ્થિતિની અંદર મિત્રો, વી આર એક્સ્ટ્રીમલી પ્લુરલ સોસાયટી. એક સંપૂર્ણપણે સરસ મજાનું બહુવિધ આયામો ધરાવીએ છીએ. Having almost 18 national languages, 2000 bar gawe boli, it's perfectly right, dear friends. Bar gav. If you are going to count the entire geography of India, then it is very much relevant. 2000 dialects. Dialects એટલે બોલી. 60 socio-cultural sub-regions like Santhal Parangana, Kutch, in Punjab, Doaba, Marwad in Rajasthan, Bundelkhand in Uttar Pradesh. So these are the socio-cultural sub-regions. It's not in the state. 60 socio-cultural sub-regions. You might have not come across this kind of detail because generally we used to with the concept of the state. Say for example, Santhal Parangana, Vidarbha, મહારાષ્ટ્રનું જ રાજ્ય અંતર્ગત જ છે, પરંતુ વિદર્ભ અને એમાંથી તેલંગાણાનું અસ્તિત્વ ચાલ્યું છે. એમાંથી ઝારખંડ અલગ પડેલું છે, મધ્યપ્રદેશમાંથી છત્તીસગઢ અલગ પડેલું છે, ઉત્તર પ્રદેશમાંથી ઉત્તરાખંડ અલગ પડેલું છે. આ જ કારણ છે. So, what are the main features? In a very much speedy manner. Just I am drawing your attention, nothing else. You all are aware about this. First and foremost is we are having a single citizenship. Second, sarvabhaumatva, sovereignty. It's rigid as far as the basic structure is concerned, but otherwise it is flexible. It is flexible and rigid. There is an independence of judiciary. There are fundamental rights, directive principles, and fundamental duties. આપના માટે ચોથો ક્વેશ્ચન. કેશવાનંદ ભારતી સુધી કેટલા બેઝિક સ્ટ્રક્ચરમાં સંખ્યા હતી અને કેશવાનંદ ભારતી પછીના ઇન્દિરા ગાંધી વર્સિસ રાજનારાયણ હમણાં જ આવ્યું ને 25મી જૂન હમણાં જ પૂરી કરી આપણે કટોકટી વિરોધી દિન. My fourth question. કેશવાનંદ ભારતી કેસમાં બેઝિક સ્ટ્રક્ચર કેટલા હતા? આમ તો 1 મિનિટમાં આપને ખ્યાલ આવી જાય. હવે તો એટલું બધું માસ્ટર આપણા ગુરુ થઈ ગયા છે ઇન્ટરનેટના માધ્યમથી. It's very easy. You can identify within 30 seconds those who are very much familiar with the internet. Not like me, person not like me. I used to read everything from the classical book, nothing else. But there were a kind of additions after the Indira Gandhi versus Rajnarayan in Minerva Mills case. That's a clue for you. What are the relevance with the federalism? Let us start. First, Constitution does not grant to any state the right of secession. કાશ્મીરમાં પ્લેબેસાઇટની વાત હતી. શ્યામાપ્રસાદ મુખર્જીનો આજે જન્મદિન છે. પંડિત જવાહરલાલ નહેરુએ એવો શબ્દ વાપરેલો હતો. એ સમયે ઐતિહાસિક ભૂલ ગણો જે ગણો, કાશ્મીરના મહારાજા હરિસિંગે જ્યારે પાકિસ્તાનનું આક્રમણ થયું કાબાઈલીઓનું અને ભારતીય સેનાની જરૂર પડી અને એ સ્થિતિમાં ભારતે લશ્કર ઉતાર્યું સરદાર સાહેબની દૂરંદેશીએ, ત્યારે એમ કહેવાય છે કે મોટરના બોનેટ ઉપર સહી કરી દે સરદાર હરિસિંહ અને સરદાર સાહેબે અને સરદાર હરિસિંગે કાશ્મીરના મહારાજા. પ્લેબિસાઇટ લોકમતના આધારે પાકિસ્તાન સાથે જોડાવું, સ્વતંત્ર રહેવું કે ભારતમાં આવવું, આવો નહેરુજીએ વિચાર મૂક્યો હતો, જેના સંદર્ભની અંદર વિરાટ આંદોલન શ્યામાપ્રસાદ મુખર્જીએ કીધું એક વિધાન, એક નિશાન, એક દેશ, એક જ ધ્વજ. હમણાં જ આપણી પાસે ત્રિરંગો માત્ર એ સ્થિતિ હમણાં જ 2019માં જ આવી ગઈ. પહેલાનું એક વિધાન, અમુક જોગવાઈઓ કાશ્મીરને નહોતી લાગુ પડતી. એક દેશ, એક વિધાન, એક નિશાન. So constitution never. So removal of Article 370 is nothing but it's a befitting with the spirit of Indian Constitution. Constitution never grant the permission to any state the right of secession. ક્યાંય જોડાણનો ડાયરેક્ટલી અધિકાર આપે. The states have no priority rights. You must write down. The states have no priority right, but only rights or power expressly granted by the Constitution. No priority, no special privilege. This is also in consonance with the removal of Article 370. Historic background may be there. I don't quarrel for that. But at the same time, this is the spirit of the Constitution, dear friends. All residuary powers are vested in union government. બધા રેસિડ્યુઅરી પાવર છે, બાકીની બધી જ સત્તા કેન્દ્ર સરકાર પાસે છે અને એટલે જ માટે મજબૂત કેન્દ્ર છે, સક્ષમ કેન્દ્ર છે. There is only single constitution, unified judiciary. સુપ્રીમ કોર્ટ થી તાલુકાના JNFC સુધી આપણી એક જ યુનિફાઈડ જ્યુડિશિયલ સિસ્ટમ છે. ઇન્ટિગ્રેટેડ સિવિલ સર્વિસીસ, IAS ઓફિસર આસામમાં પણ હોય, કચ્છમાં પણ હોય, ગુવાહાટીમાં પણ હોય, ગમે ત્યાં, અને સિંગલ સિટીઝનશીપ. ગવર્નર્સ ઓફ ધ સ્ટેટ્સ, આજે 9 થી 10 જેટલા ગવર્નર્સ નિમાણા. Governors of the states are being appointed by the union. Why? Because union is having that power. The constitution itself guarantees. અહીંયા સરમુખ અધિકારશાહી નથી. Constitution guarantees individual rights and rights of certain groups. That's SC, ST, OBC, economically big, whatever it is. There are 3 kinds of amending process. this all comes under the broader perspective of federalism. Amendment by simple majority. કોઈ રાજ્યનું નામ બદલાવવું છે, રાજ્યનો સીમા વિસ્તાર ઓછો કરવો છે, વધારે કરવો છે, ક્યાંક ફેરફાર કરવો છે, છત્તીસગઢ છે, આપણું ઝારખંડ છે, ઉત્તરાખંડ છે, આ બધું અસ્તિત્વમાં આવ્યું. સિમ્પલ મેજોરિટી. Amended by special majority 2/3. માર્ગદર્શક સિદ્ધાંતમાં કઈ ફેરફાર કરવાનો હોય, ફેડરલ સ્ટ્રક્ચરમાં કોઈ પણ નાનકડો પણ શાબ્દિક ફેરફાર પણ કલમમાં કરવાનો હોય કે અનુચ્છેદમાં, એના સંદર્ભની અંદર ખાસ કરીને આર્ટિકલ 368 યાદ રાખજો મિત્રો, આર્ટિકલ 368 રિલેટેડ મેટર્સ માટે સ્પેશિયલ મેજોરિટી જરૂરી છે. અને થર્ડ જે છે એ આપ જાણો છો, રેટિફિકેશન બાય ધી સ્ટેટ એસેમ્બલી. રાજ્યોની કેન્દ્ર રાજ્ય વચ્ચેની સત્તાના સંદર્ભની અંદર ખાસ કરીને જોવા જઈએ તો કેન્દ્ર રાજ્યોના સંબંધો, કેન્દ્રીય યાદી, રાજ્ય યાદી અને સમવર્તી યાદીમાં કોઈ પણ પ્રકારનો ફેરફાર કરવાની બાબત હોય તો આ સ્થિતિની અંદર જે છે. આ ઉપરાંત પ્રેસિડેન્શિયલ ઇલેક્શન, એક્સટેન્ટ ઓફ ધ એક્ઝિક્યુટિવ પાવર્સ ઓફ ધ યુનિયન, 7મી અનુસૂચિની કોઈ પણ 7th શેડ્યુલ, ધ મેટર રિલેટેડ ટુ 7th શેડ્યુલ એન્ડ રિપ્રેઝન્ટેશન ઓફ ધ સ્ટેટ ઇન પાર્લામેન્ટ, કોઈ પણ રાજ્યનું પાર્લામેન્ટની અંદર પ્રતિનિધિત્વના સંદર્ભની બાબત હોય અને ખાસ કરીને બંધારણમાં સુધારો કરવા સંદર્ભેની જોગવાઈ છે. આ બધા માટે રેટિફિકેશન રાજ્યોની 50% કરતા વધારે વિધાનસભાઓની મંજૂરી જરૂરી છે, અનિવાર્ય છે. One more element have been added out of and in the course of the constitutional amendment took place in the year of I think 1992, 73rd and 74th amendment 1992, constitutional status to urban and rural local bodies. સ્થાનિક સ્વરાજ્યની સંસ્થાઓ, ગ્રામ પંચાયત, નગર પંચાયત, નગરપાલિકા, મહાનગરપાલિકા, આ બધાને બંધારણીય દરજ્જો મળે છે. Now there are 3 tiers: union government, state government and local governments. So this is a kind of dual polity. અને આને કારણે ક્રાંતિકારી પરિવર્તન, મહિલા અનામત થી માંડીને 73મો, 74મો, 84મો બંધારણ સભા, આ બધી સ્થિતિ આવી છે. Now, from federalism point of view, I think we should discuss the division of powers. The state, I would like to reiterate, the state derives their power, including their fiscal power, directly from the constitution. So the union government never grants the power, only the origin, only the source of power is constitution. Union and state relationship regulates the constitution, not the union, neither the union nor the union, neither the states. They don't regulate, only the constitution regulates it. Concurrent list. Why concurrent list have been added? બંધારણના ઘડવૈયાઓએ આ દિશાની અંદર ખૂબ જ ચિંતન કરેલું છે, ખાસ કરીને સામાજિક સુધારના સંદર્ભની અંદર. As far as the social reforms are concerned, as far as the economical planning is concerned, as far as the overall national growth is concerned, usually the items falls under the concurrent list. Central government always exercise the powers. What about the administrative powers? One thing you should write down. મુદ્રા લેખશે મિત્રો, કોઈ પણ વિશ્વના બંધારણનો. This is the classical, perpetual, eternal line of any constitution. All the executive powers co-extensive. I would like to use the word co-extensive. with the legislative power. When you are not having the legislative power, you cannot exercise the executive power. So, executive power and the legislative power travels together. It always travels together, dear friends. Always debatable thing, it is about the financial relationship. Demarcation of revenue resources. And except in the case of financial emergency, Article 360, under the chapter of emergency, I think except the financial emergency, there is a clear-cut demarcation about the revenue resources. Now, gradually I am switching over towards the changing role of federalism. Because you are going to give me the answer about the federalism, you are going to define the federalism based on the constitutional scheme. What about the conflict management? It is National Developmental Council, interstate councils, tribunals like our Narmada, આપણો નર્મદા વર્ષો સુધી નર્મદાનો પ્રશ્ન ટ્રિબ્યુનલમાં ખોસલા પંચમાં 1950 થી ક્યાં સુધી અનિર્ણિત રહ્યો અને આજે સુરેન્દ્રનગરના વિરમગામના વિસ્તારો, કચ્છના વિસ્તારો, બનાસકાંઠા, સાબરકાંઠા, રાધનપુર, નર્મદાના નીર પહોંચવાથી જે સ્થિતિનું નિર્માણ થયું છે, એક સમયે બપોરે ઉનાળાની બપોરે વૈશાખના બપોરે નીકળતા જ્યાં આંખે અંધારા આવી જતા ત્યાં જે હરિયાળી જોવા મળે છે. કેટલા વર્ષે ચુકાદો આવ્યો, કેટલા વખતે 1950 માં મને લાગે છે પંડિતજીએ ખાતમુહૂર્ત કરેલું હતું અને કેટલા વર્ષે નિકાલ આવ્યો. નોંધવા યોગ્ય બાબત છે. આ સ્થિતિની અંદર ફેડરલિઝમમાં એક નવો અધ્યાય શરૂ થયો. મિત્રો આપ ધ્યાનથી સાંભળજો. આપ જાણો છો એ જ કહું છું, હું કઈ નવી વસ્તુ નથી કહેતો. There was a one party rule since 1952. It has started in 1952 and uninterruptedly it goes on up to 1967. That's the first phase. Only one party rule from Delhi to Nagar Panchayat, Nagar Palika, Gram Panchayat. From Parliament to Gram Panchayat. From Prime Minister to Sarpanch. Only one party rule. It was there. That was the Indian polity. 1952, 57, 62, 67. And only in 1967 in Punjab, Haryana, Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh, there were a kind of Sanyukta Vidayak Dal, joint governments with Chaudhry Charan Singh, Prakash Singh Badal, DMK, first communist elected chief minister in India, EMS Namrudipad. He took over as the chief minister in Kerala in 1967. EMS was the first chief minister, elected chief minister. Generally, they don't believe in, the party don't believe in the democracy. So, EMS Namrudipad was the first chief minister of Kerala, 1967. Charan Singh was the chief minister in Uttar Pradesh and in Punjab even. A kind of coalition, not a classical coalition, but a kind of Sanyukta Vidayak Dal. સરકારોની શરૂઆત થઈ. Again, after the Bangla Indo-Pak War in 1971, again, Indiraji roared. Indiraji won with 2/3 majority. She lost miserably after the emergency in 1977, but again she gained almost 2/3 majority in 1980 and 3/4 majority in 1984 and simple majority in 1989. Then Rajivji's assassination and again coalition government of Devagowdaji and Indra Kumar Gujaralji, and then Atalji 13 દિવસ 13 માસ and then 5 years. And then again 2004 and 2009, 2004 to 14 Congress party. So this is the overall political scenario. How it has been changing scenario. Because there is a difference between the 2004 Congress government, that is not the Congress government, that's a UPA government, United Progressive Alliance. Atalji's government was not the BJP government per se. At present you can say because BJP is having a clear majority, that's fine, otherwise it is also NDA government. So from that part, regional parties have come up. Bihar, Bengal, Orissa, Telangana, Punjab. Number of regional parties have come up. Jharkhand Mukti Morcha, Maharashtra the Gomantak Party in Goa, Shiva Sena in Maharashtra, Janata Dal AS in Karnataka, DMK, ADMK in Tamil Nadu. Practically, it's a national party, but spheres is very limited for CPM. That's a Kerala, either Kerala or nowadays they are having a 0 seat in West Bengal. Otherwise, Kerala they are in power. So, number of regional kind of parties have come up. The whole scenario of the federalism has been changed, dear friends. And the first coalition government, founder of coalition government in this country was Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji. ममता भी साथ में थी, समता पार्टी भी साथ में थी. So that was the classical example, almost more than 25 parties. The towering personality of Atalji, I can say, it was the best fragrance of the federalism. And gradually, in the present context, I think federalism in our country, in the present emerging trends, I can say this is the ideal one. Why? I will prove this. After the globalization, LPG, liberalization, privatization and the globalization, the new trend have been started. You might have remembered about the Vibrant Gujarat. Modi ji has introduced this kind of unique program, first of its kind. Union government was of the Congress party. Even the union government has to participate in Vibrant Gujarat under the leadership of Mr. Narendra Modi, the then Chief Minister. Why? Just to attract the foreign investment. It was the first showcasing economically vibrancy, ease of doing business took place in Gujarat. So the whole scenario of the federalism has been changed. Gradually, all the states have come up to showcase their ability to invite the funding from the World Bank, from the Asian Development Bank, to attract WTO, World Trade Organization. And the entire policy perspective have been drastically changed from federal government point of view. The whole scenario has been changed. The new concept, classical concept, now I am switching over to the emerging trend. What is the one-liner sentence? Effective center, effectively empowered state. Effective center, that's the union government, and effectively empowered states. મજબૂત કેન્દ્ર અને અસરકારક રીતે સશક્ત બનાવાયેલ રાજ્ય. મજબૂત કેન્દ્ર અને અસરકારક રીતે સશક્ત બનાવાયેલ રાજ્ય. Empower, સશક્ત. The entire country has entered into the new era of cooperative federalism. Cooperative federalism, dear friends. This is an era of cooperative federalism. Almost in, rather as far as the state reorganization is concerned, I think it took place between almost Gujarat, આપણું મુંબઈ રાજ્યમાંથી અલગ પડ્યું, સૌરાષ્ટ્ર અલગ હતું, એમાંથી મહાગુજરાત થયું. State reorganization took place in 1956 to almost 1955 to 60. ગુજરાત, હિમાચલ થી માંડીને રાજ્યોનો પુનર્રચના થઈ. There is one finance commission under Article 280. It is based on 4 classical aspects. One is distribution between the union and the states, shareable taxes. Under that, taxes collected by this union, distributed between union and the state, taxes collected by the state for union, taxes collected by the states, distributed between the union and the states, taxes collected by the state for the purpose of the state. So there are 5 to 6 sub-components. That's a kind of shareable taxes. Second one, granting aid. Say for example, within no time development, Prime Minister just visited the cyclone affected area of Saurashtra and other places, even in Bengal and Orissa, and granted immediate relief from the Prime Minister's relief fund or other funds. Even during the pandemic and all these things. Another thing, it is about the regulation of Consolidated Fund of India. ભારતની પોતાની જે કન્સોલિડેટેડ ફંડ છે, પોતાનું, એની બાબત છે. સાથોસાથ અત્યારનો જે કન્સેપ્ટ છે, ઇઝ ઓફ બિઝનેસ. કેવી રીતે આ સ્થિતિમાં ખાસ કરીને કઈ રીતની સ્થિતિની અંદર આપણે નવા નવા પડકારો કયા ઉભા થયા છે ફેડરલિઝમના સંદર્ભની અંદર? કેટલીક બાબતો અંગે મારે પણ આપની સાથે કેટલીક બાબતો શેર કરવાની છે. ખાસ કરીને if you take the example, recent example of how the union government has adopted the concept of cooperative federalism, how and why. You take the example of a pandemic situation. During that situation, you might have come across the news or you might have come across the TV broadcasting and all these things. All the decisions were being taken with continuous dialogue process with the state chief minister by the prime minister. Prime Minister himself discussed everything with each and every state. He tried his level best to reach a consensus and then taken the decision. He imposed the lockdown initially, that was the emergency provision. But second time, Prime Minister and Home Minister discussed at length with the chief ministers and categorically during that second wave, the Home Minister has empowered the state to take the decision at local level about the lockdown. So this is nothing but the classical example of cooperative federalism. You take the example of Sarkaria Commission. There were a continuous quarrelsome, the continuous conflict, continuous difference of opinion between the states and the center. Even one party, even during the regime of one party, Congress party was there in every state. Even after that, regional parties were there. Continuous debate, continuous conflict between the center and the state. That's why the then government constituted the Sarkaria Commission. And Sarkaria Commission has laid down certain recommendations to regulate the relationship between the center and the state. But no doubt, Bengal is agitating up to some extent, and 2-3 states have their own opinion. We must respect the opinion. There is no doubt about it. That's fine. That's okay. But there is no constitutional difficulty between the center and state. There is no such kind of major problem between the center and the states at present. You will not find any such kind of problem. And that's why I think you take the example of I think you might have come across this particular aspect about the 3 kind of system. Of course, it's quite different and classical one. You take the example of unified system, such kind of China, France, Norway, Philippines, Sweden, Portugal, Turkey, New Zealand, number of nations. And there are federal governments. America is federal government, but India is not at par with the US. US is having a separate identity as far as the federal system is concerned. And confederal like European Sangh છે, European Union છે, Commonwealth groups છે, they are confederal. So they don't have any kind of power on each other, but they are the confederations. In a way, I think Niti Aayog has done a great job to strengthen the concept of competitive and I can say competitive cooperative federalism. અને આ સંદર્ભની અંદર ખાસ કરીને આજે આપ જોઈ શકશો કે સેલ્સ ટેક્સના સ્થાને જીએસટી આવેલા છે. આ જીએસટી આવેલા હોવાને કારણે if you take the example of GST council is there. Union is not going to take the decision about the tax slab. Each and every states are at liberty to opine and unanimously take the decision. This is nothing but I can say this is a classical example of cooperative federalism. As far as the Finance Commission is concerned, dear friends, of course, I have requested our KCG group, our KCG friends, that I am not going to enter into I have thrown some questions abruptly, otherwise I don't enter into that classical kind of questionnaire and key and answer, all these things. I think KCG people may give you the questions and they ask answer key and all these things. But maybe, I'm not sure, maybe based on my lecture, I'm not sure. But at the same time, from 32%, this is the 14th Finance Commission. The time period is 2015-16 to 2019-20. 2015-16 થી 2019-20. Historically, it has been increased the allocation from 32% to 42%. This is something unprecedented. Concept of Team India have been developed. I think lot of in almost 14 states there were financial deficit of almost 74,340 crores of financial deficit of 14 states, irrespective of their political identity. Somewhere some regional party, somewhere Congress, somewhere BJP, whoever may be the party. Union government has tried its level best. Union government is continuously trying its level best. To bridge the gap between the deficits and the income. Union government extended all kind of financial assistance to 14 states just to meet with the 74,340 crores rupees deficit. I think the new era of National Institute for Transforming India, Niti Aayog, by the Niti Aayog, it has become the hub. It has become the resource center for the developmental aspect. Concept of Team India There is no such kind of fault line between union and the state. Now it has become the Team India. Irrespective of any party, this is something dynamic, I can say. Union has discontinued to intervene. Union has discontinued to interfere in the internal developmental matter of the state government. They are at liberty to take the decision. While suggesting the scheme, state governments are at liberty to suggest their own priority. Very important aspect. It is about the shared vision of national development. Shared vision. This is something unique and this is something classical, I can say. Swachh Bharat ranking. Ease of doing business. કયા રાજ્યમાં વ્યવસાય કરવાની ઉદ્યોગપતિઓને વધારે અનુકૂળતા છે? And Gujarat is doing a great job. At the same time, I think a new concept in 2017, please write down, in 2017, new concept have been evolved, that is a competitive cooperative federalism. NITI Aayog used to ask from to the respective state about their project proposal. They scrutinize and they grant these extra financial support to the respective states. Now, all these states, I would like to cite a very good example of Prime Minister. He categorically praised Naveen Patnaik of the Biju Janata Dal about the classical best disaster management during the cyclone. He has done a great job. So the new era of cooperative federalism have been introduced. This is not a small thing. This is a gradual evolvement in this country. And our framers of the constitution, they have rightly forecasted that in each and every state and at the union, visionary leadership, on the base of visionary leadership, cooperative federalism, the concept of cooperative federalism can be achieved. Dear friends. Now NITI Aayog and union government, they have already started to promote good governance initiative. In Northeast, I think the new era of development. તમે લોકોમાં ઘણા મિત્રોએ રોહતાંગ પાસ ફરવા માટે ગયા હશે. રોહતાંગ પાસ, you cannot go through the Rohtang Pass during the month of almost for the 6 months starts from September to almost April. You may not be able to pass through the Rohtang Pass after the Manali up to Sarchu, Kargil, Trilokanath and that area, Lahore, Spiti. But nowadays, I think two best examples are with us. One is about the Northeast development and second it is about the Himalayan range development project. Two classical projects I have gone through before some time and the entire project is worth for the overall national development. One very good thing about the new scheme. It is about the eminent individuals outside the government system could contribute to policy making. I think in a way, this is something very nice and a very good initiative also. And say, for example, certain experts from economic field, from the social field, at least they can contribute in overall developmental process. One thing is very much clear is this is my humble belief that India cannot advance without all its states advancing. If the states are not advancing, India cannot advance itself. So overall development based on the development of the respective states. I have identified certain challenges in this regard. One challenge is it is about the financial planning at the state level and financial discipline. There was a wastage, huge wastage of our vaccine. So this is something miserable, dear friends. And of course, we should remain in financial discipline. There may be a different kind of socio-economic parameters in different states. That's a major challenge before the cooperative federalism. Challenge number 2, different socio-economic parameters. Challenge number 3, number of states. I have categorically told you about 14 states. Number of states are under debts. That's a huge financial deficit. And sometimes lack of political will. Someone will say, you take the example of 3-4 chief minister, I would not like to name. Initially, one political leader categorically declared that I am not going to take the vaccine. This vaccine belongs to a particular party. This vaccine belongs to a particular manufacturer. So I don't want to take the vaccine. One health minister of one state categorically declared, I don't want to take the vaccine. I don't have trust in the vaccination program. Later on, they participated. They demanded the huge supply from the center. So this is a kind of, irrespective of any political party, lack of political will. I think just to sum up within a few minutes, I can say way forward. What should be the way forward for the success of competitive? I can say that it should be competitive. At the end, I can say, but it really initially I was just telling you, I was just sharing with you about the flexibility. That was my hypothesis, highly flexible instrument for state organization that can be continuously adapted. So these are the new practices. These are the new practices after the changing of almost new polity, changing concept in the states. So I think effective center and effectively empowered states, that's the one answer for the particular hypothesis. And of course, I can say that just to meet with the new challenges, regional imbalances, globalization, ease of doing business, large investment, and changing political environment, reforms in tax, transfer, and local government. So these are the new challenges. And accordingly, we will have to, I think, mold our classical system of cooperative federalism. That should be the answer of my own hypothesis, dear friends. Before I conclude, I think I must mention about the some highlights on way forward. I can say that Niti Aayog should concentrate. This is my humble belief. I am not an economist. I am a student of Constitution. So Niti Aayog is doing a great job. There is no doubt about it. And there is a scope for more broader policy perspective. They have started a great job, I can say. Without any kind of fear and favor, I can say that our Prime Minister has concentrated to develop each and every state irrespective of any political identity. I must say, there is no doubt about it. So there is a scope way forward. Broader policy perspective, that's my humble belief. Second thing, as far as a small kind of mechanism can be enhanced, it is already there, about the dispute resolution between the two states or like that, or any state and union. Council is there. And almost all the disputes have already been resolved, I can say. Interstate Council under Article 263 is also doing a great job. Now, I think this will be more activated after the pandemic, in the post-pandemic era. Three things I think there is a need to concentrate: land, labor, and natural resources. Land, labor, and natural resources. I think there is a need to concentrate in certain areas of this country. More pragmatic approach, I think state will have to, they should forget their own political affiliations, but they should concentrate on the developmental aspect only. There may be in democracy, there is always room for debate, for difference of opinion. But at the same time, as far as the national development is concerned, I think there is a need for pragmatic kind of leadership. Developmental aspect, the nation as a whole, political consensus, it is already there. We have witnessed during the pandemic. At the end, I can say that competitive, cooperative federalism will emerge as the federalism is very much classical, flexible, very good instrument for an ideal political system. Let us, my humble request to all my senior colleagues, my friends, that try to concentrate. Please correct me if factually or from any point of view, if there is any scope to correct me, you are at liberty to do so. It is almost 4:49. I'm going to conclude my lecture at around 4:50. So today it's a matter of great pleasure for me. I'm very much delighted to share. This is my views. I don't say that this is an expert lecture. This is a views. It's a sharing. Shareable views. So I am sharing my views. You are at liberty to correct. Always you are at liberty to do so. I thought that let me think about certain new areas, new avenues. સમવાય તંત્ર એટલો બધો રોજનો આપણો શબ્દ થઈ ગયો હોય છે કે એના ઉપર પછી રોજ એટલો બધો શબ્દ આવી ગયો હોય બંધારણમાં આપણું દેશ સમવાય છે આ તે વગેરે સમવાય તંત્રની શું સ્થિતિ છે ક્લાસિકલી કયા પ્રકારની પરિસ્થિતિ છે વૈશ્વિક સ્તરે શું છે અને ઇમર્જિંગ ટ્રેન્ડ શું છે એમાં ક્યારેક ક્યારેક કાયમ નહીં ક્યારેક આપણું ધ્યાન આપવાનું ભૂલી જતા હોય છે એટલે મને વિચાર આવ્યો હતો most humbly, I have tried my level best to share my views, my bona fide beliefs. You are at liberty to correct, to alter, to add everything. Thank you very much. Namaskar. Vande Mataram. Bharat Mata ki jai.
Thank you. Good evening, respected dignitaries present here, and very warm good evening to Kamlesh Joshipura, sir. Myself, Dr. Nipa Vyas. I am an assistant professor at Government Law College, Maninagar. I have also heard you, sir, many times, and I have also blessed by having this occasion also to learn from you. Very lucidly, sir, you have explained the transformation of competitive government to cooperative government. It was very nice session, sir. I have a question that... Thank you so much, sir. Sir, as we all know that the Constitution of India expresses center with great powers of taxation, for which the institutional mechanism like Finance Commission is provided by the Constitution. This Finance Commission determines the shares of states in central tax revenues. Sir, my query is that as the topic of today's session is challenges or the changing trend, sir, is it not one of the challenge that absence of financial federalism is also one of the challenge from which we should come out to meet the present scenario?
You are perfectly right. Let me clarify two things. As certain areas and avenues are there where our state government, respective state governments are at liberty to collect the taxes. Now, your question, it is about the allocable surplus, not surplus, allocable dues.
Yes.
As far as allocable dues are concerned, the 14th Finance Commission, the time slot is 2015 to 2015-16 accounting year to 2019-20 accounting. That's for the 5 years. You just remember that since almost 40-45 years, the allocation could reach up to 32% only. This is the first time that 10% hike we have witnessed for the allocable dues to the respective states. Second thing, a remarkable thing, it is about the deficit. You might have heard about the deficit. 14 such states are there. 14, almost. 14 such kind of states are there where almost they are having the deficit of 74,340 crores CR. So, unless and until state governments, rather I can say that unless and until the state government create the additional financial resources by taxing more, it is not possible for them to meet with such a huge challenge. So the Union government has taken the pragmatic approach in this regard, and they have assured the same to fulfill their own requirements. Third thing, I was just telling you about the new challenges. One thing I would like to tell you about the particular challenge and your particular question. Your question also attracted three things. One is about the regional imbalance, because due to the lack of proper financial resources, regional imbalance is created. Second thing about the challenges of the globalization. Due to this globalization, at domestic level, in respective states, there is a need to create the additional financial resources to meet with the requirements of the large investments at domestic level. Suppose in a particular multinational would like to enter into Bihar or in Orissa, say for example, then they will have to create an additional financial resources. Either it may be a joint venture or they will have to provide certain red carpet type of treatment to the multinational to invite them to start their business and to develop the entire state. The state will come up if any big industry comes in the particular region. Naturally, a state is expected to reach at new heights. So your second question, it is related to large investment, and of course, third one, your question, it is about the reforms in the tax structure, transfer of fund and local government. Local governments, as far as Gujarat is having a different case, but in number of states, the local governments, Panchayat, Nagarpalika, Gram Panchayat, Taluka Panchayat, Jilla Panchayat, Mahanagarpalika, they have not been sufficiently equipped with the financial resources. So, I do agree with you that there is a scope for pragmatic approach as far as the state financial situation is concerned. But my humble belief is also there that there is a need for financial planning and discipline and proper leadership at state level. But looking to the circumstances, looking to the magic figures of the 14th Finance Commission and the support that has been extended by the Niti Aayog, I think if any state leadership is intended to receive such kind of support, I think this is the best classical period.
No, sir. I must add that we have received n number of comments from the participants that it was a very informative session.
Just I am
think the either side, sir.
Nothing else. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Sir, I just want to thank you that you have spared the time from such a busy schedule, and to all the participants, I must say that sir has given the lecture in spite of such a dignitary. He has delivered the lecture at free of cost to all the participants. And I am so much thankful to you, sir, on behalf of all the participants. I would like to request our coordinator to give a vote of thanks to sir.
माननीय जोशीपुरा सर, थैंक यू सो मच. આપનો ખૂબ ખૂબ આભાર કે આપના આટલો કિંમતી સમય અમારી વચ્ચે જ્ઞાન અને વ્યૂઝ જે અમને શેર કર્યા એ બદલ આપનો ખૂબ ખૂબ આભાર. અને ખાસ સ્પેશિયલ થેન્ક્સ એટલે કહેવા માંગીશ સર કે સમય તો બધાના માટે કિંમતી હોય છે, પણ આપના માટે એ વ્યસ્ત સમય હતો છતાં પણ તમે અમારી વચ્ચે 2 hours ઉપસ્થિત રહ્યા. એ મારા માટે એક અંતરથી કહું તો મને ખૂબ જ આનંદ થાય છે કે તમને એવું થતું હતું સર કે આ સમય કદાચ મને બિઝી શેડ્યુલ આવશે તો એવી વાત કરી હતી કે તો જોઈશું સર, પણ આપણે અરેન્જ કરીએ છીએ અને ઇટ ઇઝ ફ્રૂટફુલ ફોર ઓલ ઓફ અસ. સર, આપનું આજના સેશન અને ટોપિક પર આપે જે અમને જે વ્યૂઝ આપ્યા, જે નોલેજ શેર કર્યું, એ અમને ચોક્કસ આશા છે કે ચોક્કસ અમને અમારા કેરિયરમાં અને અમારા જીવનમાં ઉપયોગી થશે. અમારા વિદ્યાર્થીઓ સુધી પણ આપના દ્વારા મળેલું અમારું નોલેજ અમે પહોંચાડી શકીશું. સો અગેન શિક્ષણ વિભાગ અને કેસીજી તરફથી આપનો ખૂબ ખૂબ આભાર માનું છું સર.